A very warm welcome to all our viewers. Welcome to Northeast Live Digital and welcome to this very exclusive conversation that I am going to have today. Many of you are already hearing a lot about the Uniform Civil Code. I am sure you must be wanting to know more about what Uniform Civil Code is all about. What is all this noise, the discussions and debates that is going on regarding the code. Also, the government is talking a lot about it. The political parties are taking part in a lot of discussions. Many are opposing the code. Therefore, to understand better what Uniform Civil Code is all about, how is it going to impact you and me, what does it mean in simple terms, and what will happen to the existing laws once the code is implemented. To talk about all of these and to simplify, to decode Uniform Civil Code for us, I have with me today Bhaskar Dev Konwar. He is the senior advocate, Gauhati High Court. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Northeast Live. Thank you so much for joining me today to explain what the code is all about and simplify things for us. So, first off, what is the Uniform Civil Code?
See, normally we have the general law which is applicable irrespective of any religion, caste, creed or community.
Yeah.
Say for example, under the Indian Penal Code, if a person commits murder,
right,
then he will be punished whether he is a Muslim, Hindu or Christian, doesn't make difference.
Yes.
He will be punished under section 302 of the IPC.
Yeah.
Say for the Evidence Act, the procedural law of Evidence Act will apply irrespective of any religion, caste, creed or community. But so far the matrimonial laws
yes,
in India are concerned, the succession laws are in India are concerned, the adoption laws in India are concerned, we have different set of laws for different community,
right,
even after 75 years of independence.
Yes.
So the government is trying to come up with a law which will be applicable irrespective of any caste, creed, community or religion.
Right.
Say when we would go a little backward, when the constitutional debate was taking place, then while framing the sixth schedule as a part of the constitution, the framers of the constitution in the debate has said that so far the sixth schedule areas are concerned,
yes,
they have distinct identities and cultures,
yes,
and their customs are different.
Yeah.
And at that time the factors which were, it was just after independence, the British have promised them that they will be given independent autonomy and all.
Right.
So those factors which were present during at that time when the
yes,
sixth schedule area was carved out,
right,
I don't think that all those arguments will hold today, because lot of progress and changes have taken place in the sixth schedule areas.
So that is where the fear and the concerns are. You know, what happens to the tribal communities, what happens to the minorities, hence so much of opposition we are seeing, so much of, you know, the concerns that are coming. So what happens to those? And also, like you said, you know, our region, the northeastern region, has a lot of traditions, cultures, lot of laws which are very unique and specific to certain communities. So obviously they will feel threatened. So what happens there?
See, I think it's too premature to discuss what will be there in the UCC unless, right, we have a draft.
Yes.
But so far as the state of Meghalaya, Nagaland and Mizoram,
yes,
has gone on record,
yeah,
saying that they will oppose UCC.
Right.
They have their own political agendas or they have their own thinking process on which they are opposing.
Right.
But as a citizen of this country, I believe that any law which creates gender equality, which create discrimination among the sexes, I think that those laws have to go. Okay. Say for example, why you talk only about polygamy in the Muslim community? Polygamy is prevalent, widespread in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Even educated people are having more than one wives. There is no limit to having wives in Arunachal Pradesh. Right. Take about Nagaland, take about Meghalaya. If you go by the statistics, of course, if you go by the statistics, polygamy is increasing in those states. But the number of the Muslim population may be very large in India. So, if, yes, you go by percentage, then the polygamy in the Muslim community may be more.
Right.
to remove polygamy, because in all the Western countries or the developed countries, including the Muslim countries, this polygamy is no longer recognized. Now, our Chief Minister, Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗡 𝗔𝗧 has gone on record saying that so far Assam is concerned, polygamy has to go and UCC is the only solution.
Right.
I think that if UCC comes, this practice, I will say this is the bad practice of polygamy has to go. The Indian Penal Code, so far 494 and 495 are concerned in respect of polygamy, which is only applicable in case of Hindus, not applicable in case of Muslims. This should be amended and they should make it uniform to all communities. Say for example, if you look into, there are some gender neutral laws and there are laws which irrespective of any religion, you have to follow that law.
Right.
Say section 125 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Under that code, any woman, irrespective whether she is a Muslim, Hindu, can claim maintenance.
Right.
There you will recall that famous 𝗟𝗛𝗩 case. In the 𝗟𝗩𝗩 case, what happened? 𝗟𝗛𝗩 was divorced by a husband who was a lawyer, who had 40 years of practice, and she was given maintenance for 3 months. She did not agree. She went to the Allahabad High Court. Allahabad High Court upheld her maintenance order. Then it went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court also upheld the maintenance order, although it was a mere sum of 40 or 20 rupees at that time. But in that case, the Supreme Court has said that the country should get ready to have a uniform civil code, that is, we call it UCC. Why? Because you see, if there is a violation of fundamental rights, you can go to the court directly.
Right.
But when the framers of the constitution found that just after partition, when the Muslim people were coming from Pakistan to India, there was a rhetoric going in Pakistan that India will be a Hindu state. So they did not want to create fear in the mind of the Muslim people who had come to India, that India is a Hindu state, India brother is a secular state. So they did not go with the uniform civil code.
Right.
So what they did, they put it in the directive principles of state policy under Article 44. Because if it is in the directive principles of state policy, it is directory, it can't be mandatory. And if you look at the language of that directive principle, it says that every state should take an endeavor to enforce the uniform civil code. Even the Supreme Court has gone on record that it is the prerogative of the government to come up with a uniform civil code, and it is said that after 75 years of independence, we have not yet been ready to come up with any UCC.
But you know, two things here. One, there are certain customs and traditions which not just of Northeast India, many parts of India, Maharashtra for example, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, we have a lot of tribal population there, and even not just tribal, the indigenous people of those states, they follow a lot of traditions and customs, and most of these, you know, multiple marriages and all are part of those customs and traditions. So the minute uniform civil code comes in, or as now it is being called universal civil code, that is what most likely it's going to be called. If that comes in, don't you think people might have a lot of, or maybe the code, won't it actually kind of be in direct conflict with those customs and traditions?
See, my point in this regard is very simple. Any law which creates gender equality, which creates discrimination between the sexes, and it should go being violative of the constitutional right granted under Article 14. Article 14 ensures equality to all citizens of this country. Now, say for example, in the state of Nagaland, if it is only the male family members are having right to property, don't you think that you are creating inequality against the girl child? If only a male can be the natural guardian of the child, don't you think that this law is discriminatory? Take an example of Shillong or the Meghalaya. Now, today also it is the youngest girl of the Khasi community who inherits the property. Don't you think that you are creating again discrimination against the male members of the society there? So any law which is discriminatory, which is creates inequality, which creates the division between the sexes, should go. And I believe that now it is too early to speculate. The Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma has gone on record saying that we will oppose the UCC. Instead of giving such statement, it is better they do their research. They look into the constitutional debates. I believe that if he is properly instructed on this on UCC, I don't think that there will be opposition. Any suggestion of all the stakeholders can be incorporated in the UCC, and I think it is time that India should get ready for UCC.
Right. In fact, the Prime Minister had said in the recent meeting that he will take care of the concerns of the people of Northeast India also, because the 6th schedule areas are there, and also all the other tribal communities, laws, customs, that of course he has assured, and we are very hopeful that that will be taken into consideration while as and when the draft is prepared and as and when the code is actually implemented. But now, why do you think we need a uniform civil code?
See, one country, one law. See, we have the law for different criminal offences. We have one law. Now, earlier certain laws were not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. Now, with the abrogation of Article 370, now those laws are also applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The income tax law is applicable to all the state except some Arunachal and some other states where this income tax, certain income tax provisions are not applicable. It's the UCC will not do away with the custom how you solemnize your marriage.
Okay.
I am a Hindu. I can solemnize my marriage by taking the 7 steps around the fire, or as a Ahum I can do the saklong. As a Christian, you will celebrate the marriage in church. But the rite following from those marriage, that has to be uniform. Insofar, if you consider India as a democratic republic where all people should have equal right, there is one argument, of course, given by the people who have said that there is their fundamental right to practice their religion and custom as per Article 25 and 28 up to 28 of the Constitution, including to have religious institution, Article 29 and all. But if you look into the Constitution, the constitutional debates behind why at that time UCC was not brought into the Constitution as a fundamental right to have, and it put it in the directive principles of state policy. I believe that those arguments which were there, today many of those arguments have become stale. Because India has progressed substantially during the 75 years of independence, and it is said that even today in Nagaland, we don't have 31/3% of reservation for women in the municipal election. Because why? The Constitution has given special powers to the state of Nagaland, that if they don't adopt the law framed by the center, it is not applicable to the state of Nagaland. So, this 33/1/3 reservation, not only this UCC, the government should also take initiative to see that this 33/1/3% reservation should be adopted, not only in the assembly and parliament, even in the municipal bodies where it has not been adopted.
Right. And I believe there is a court case going on as far as this whole Nagaland urban local body.
Yes, there's already some of these matters are still sub judice. But take for the recent constitutional hearing in regard to the same-sex marriage. The court has said that it is the prerogative of the government to frame laws in regard to.
In fact, I wanted to ask you this: what happens to the rights and protection of the LGBTQI community, the queer community? Should they also be worried about the code?
No, I think the LGBTI or the queer or the asexual community should not worry. I think in the last Law Commission report of 2018, their grievances were also taken into consideration. But again, I say that in India, because of our social and cultural tradition, it is very difficult to accept that a boy will be marrying a boy, a girl will be marrying a girl, a transgender will be marrying either a boy or girl. It's very difficult to accept. But take the example of Nepal. Nepal has now recognized that a marriage between a boy or a girl and a girl can be registered. I think that under the UCC, I think all these factors will be taken into consideration by the Parliamentary Standing Committee or the persons who are responsible for drafting it. And many of the provisions of the UCC, I tell you, has already been tested by this country under the Special Marriage Act of 1954. Already we have that marriage celebrated in any other form can be registered under the Special Marriage Act. Suppose I solemnize my marriage under the Hindu Marriage Act, but I get it registered under the Special Marriage Act of 1954. Then all my rights of divorce, adoption, custody of the child, maintenance to my wife, everything will be regulated by the Special Marriage Act. I believe that Universal Civil Code will include many of the provisions of the Special Marriage Act. But in case of Hindus, after the framing of the Hindu Marriage Act in 1954 and the other laws, codified laws of the Hindu, so far Hindu law has gone, subsequently there have been amendment and all. So Hindu will also now not have a separate marriage law, they will all come under the UCC. The Muslim objection is highest from the clerics and the Muslim law board. They now even after 75 years of independence, if you say that a Muslim can have separate law in regard to inheritance, Muslim can have a separate law in case of adoption and guardianship, Muslim girl will have a separate law on succession. I don't think that that is in consonance with the spirit of the Constitution. It will be violative of Article 14 of the Constitution, and I think the Universal Civil Code, before formulating the UCC, we have another 15 days time. I think it is up to July 30th. I think all the persons who want to put their suggestion can put it before the committee, before the Law Commission, and I think that will be taken into consideration.
Yes. So the best thing to do right now would be not kind of get worried or concerned. Get worried, concerned, put those before the Law Commission. Make your voices heard and let the best of minds at the center do their job, right? So, there's a lot of concern about what happens to the secular fabric of India, a pluralist society. Do you in any way see that there could be a threat to any of these?
See, the concept of secular is different in the context of the Indian concept. To be secular doesn't mean that we will create inequalities between a male and a female side. Secular doesn't mean that you will have separate marriage laws for the one community and the separate marriage laws for the other community. As I have told, the Uniform Civil Code will not touch upon the customary rules and regulation which is required in performing the marriage. That will remain. I think all these agendas has been taken to oppose or for the UCC has all got a political objective. I think we should all see it from the legalistic point of view rather than politicizing the issue. And I think instead of telling that we'll burn the house of 60 MLAs or the government will oppose it tooth and nail, at this moment I think the right thing will be to put it on record by saying that, or make it public in your document, that why you oppose UCC, why you are in favor of UCC. That will give a healthy discussion and debate, and it is good that the country has started at least the consultation and the debate for UCC.
Yes. So basically list out the pros and cons, voice your concerns, right, and then talk about it instead of just simply going ahead and opposing the code. And of course, I'm sure it's going to be a tough call for the government how the drafting is done without hurting anybody's customary laws, traditions, sentiments, too many things to be taken care of, and also how finally the code is implemented. So now, before I let you go, will life become simpler for the Aam Aadmi if the code is implemented, as and when it is implemented?
I think the most benefited will be the women.
Okay.
Because if you go to any of these family courts and all, you will always find that it is full of women rather than male persons.
Okay.
So they are facing a lot of
grievances.
Yes.
Women have.
Now all the women, irrespective of the religion, caste, creed and community, they will know their law. They will have equal treatment before the law. Because see, prior to 2005, even the Hindu girl was treated as a class 2 highest. they were not given equal share in the property.
Yes.
Now after 2005, after the judgment of the Supreme Court in one of the cases and the amendment of the law in regard to it, now a Hindu girl has a equal right over property just like a male child.
Right.
But as I have earlier told, you look at the tribal societies in Assam, you look at the status the girl child enjoys there. Yes, Meghalaya is a matrilineal society where the youngest girl has the right of the property. But are you considering the grievance of those male persons of Meghalaya who have been denied the right to property? You first change it, look into it. If there is something which can be, which has wrought havoc, there can always be a provision for amendment, but it is too premature to suggest that we will resort to violent activities to oppose UCC. I think that is not fundamentally and legally acceptable for any citizen of this country.
Right. Maybe we should first look at the merits, demerits once the draft is ready.
Yes.
Look at all the angles of what the code is going to do for us.
And even you look into the Uniform Civil Code of Goa. Goa was under the control of the Portuguese till 1962. They have a uniform civil code. Now everyone is citing that Goa civil code should be adopted. But in the Goa civil code also there are certain disadvantages or drawbacks. Say for example, if a female child has certain disadvantages in compared to the male. In case of Parsi community, if a Parsi girl marries a non-Parsi, she loses all her inheritance right. I think all these inequalities should be looked into by the government, and they should also take into consideration the various directions of the Supreme Court in regard to UCC, and they should take the opinion of all the stakeholders and make it in the public domain, give them sufficient time to reflect on it, and I think that will quell the any that you have all the confusion.
Yes. So definitely a tough job before the government.
Yes.
And in fact, this is not just the first time that the government has been talking about it. They brought UCC up. There were a lot of discussions, I think 2019, 2020, 2 years. But then again, it went to the back burner. Obviously, a lot of other things happened in the meanwhile.
I think so far Assam is concerned, Assam is in the forefront at the moment because of our CM who has gone on record saying that UCC is the solution to ban polygamy in Muslim. I think it should not only include Muslim, it should include other tribal communities also where polygamy is being practiced. He is vocal in saying that child marriage should be banned because we know all the scientific reason, and it is not good to say that a girl will not have the proper education and get into marriage. We should have a uniform law in regard to all these illegal or unlawful activities that are going on in this country. So I think it should be put an end, and we should also quell the fear of all the stakeholders that UCC will bring uniformity so far one nation, one law is concerned. And
make our society much more progressive and more equal across people. So thank you so much. That was really wonderful having this chat, and thank you viewers for watching. Keep watching Northeast Live and do follow us, subscribe to us, find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. Thank you once again. Till we meet again, goodbye.